Okay, so this is where things get weird, like NBA breaking weird. We are staring down the barrel of something that has never happened before. Cooper Flagg, the projected, locked-in, no questions asked #1 overall pick in the upcoming NBA draft, might just skip it entirely. And no, this isn't one of those social media rumors where someone's cousin said they saw Cooper buying a new Duke hoodie. This is real. He said it himself. He told The Athletic he's thinking about staying at Duke. Then, when ESPN pressed him on it, he said he's just evaluating and reflecting and could take a month to decide. A month, bro? Like, if you were set on going to the league and changing your life overnight, wouldn't that be a pretty quick yes? Instead, he's giving maybe I'll circle back energy. This is sending shivers through NBA front offices. Scouts, GMS, even players are wondering what's up because nobody skips the NBA draft when they're guaranteed to be the #1 pick. One pick. The last time we saw anything remotely like this? Probably never in the modern one-and-done era. The money, the fame, the shoe deals, the clout, it's all just sitting there. And yet, Cooper's hesitating. You gotta ask yourself, what's so scary about being drafted that the most competitive dude since Kobe might bounce before he ever puts on a jersey? And if you think this is just some polite maybe not PR move, think again. Cooper isn't your average 19-year-old. He's got major NIL money flowing in already. He's not hurting financially, which means he's got leverage, real leverage. The kind that changes power dynamics, the kind that makes you rethink what being a draft pick even means. He doesn't need the NBA right now, but the NBA, it absolutely needs him. Now let me blow your mind even further. Even if Cooper does declare for the draft on April 26th, that's not the final word. There's a loophole, a big one, that turns this entire situation into a high-stakes game of chess. Basically, once he declares, Cooper still has until June 15th to withdraw his name. That means, get this, he could enter the draft, wait to see who wins the lottery, and then be like, nah, I'm good, and go right back to Duke. No penalty, no damage done, like it never even happened. You know how crazy that is? Imagine Sham Charania or Woj dropping a bomb. Breaking, Cooper Flagg declares for the NBA draft. All the hype, all the breakdowns. Then, boom, on June 14th, he just pulls out because the Wizards got the top pick, and he's like, I'm not wasting my rookie contract playing for a front office that couldn't organize a pizza party. The NBA hates this kind of uncertainty. They love predictability, structure. This question mark, this is chaos. This is power swinging in the other direction. For once, a player, an incoming player, is flipping the script. Normally, the league dictates everything. You go where you're picked, and that's it. But with NIL money, growing influence, and this wild withdrawal clause, Cooper can sit back like Thanos and say, I'll do it myself. And here's the spicy part. Some teams are already sweating bullets. They know their franchise is in shambles. If they win the lottery, they might not even get Cooper. How's that for draft drama? This loophole isn't just a safety net, it's a strategic weapon. And Flagg might just be the first dude brave enough to use it. So let's zoom in on Duke for a second, because this isn't just about avoiding bad NBA teams. Cooper might want to go back to college. Why? Unfinished business. That Final Four loss still stings, and if you know anything about Cooper Flagg, you know he doesn't just shake that off. Let's break it down. Duke was up by 6 with under a minute to go. They had it in the bag, but then Houston hits some ridiculous shots, gets a couple of turnovers, and Cooper makes the mistake. He fouls with 20 seconds left. Houston takes the lead. Cooper misses the potential game winner. Game over, season over. And for a guy wired like him, that's personal. That's something he'll replay in his head 10,000 times. Now add in the fact that Duke is reloading with a top-tier recruiting class. We're talking future NBA talent joining forces with Cooper for one more shot at a title. Imagine him coming back as the guy, surrounded by killers, on a mission to win it all. The story writes itself. Fallen hero returns, seeks redemption, and cuts down the Nets in March. That kind of narrative is college basketball gold, and Cooper knows it. Plus, let's not forget, NIL isn't chump change. He's getting paid. The old idea that you have to jump to the league to make money is dead. He can live like a pro, play in packed arenas, dominate the headlines, and still chase a championship. For some players, that might not be enough, but Cooper, he's built different. Sometimes legacy matters more than dollars. All right, circle this date on your calendar, May 12th, because that's when the chaos really begins. That's when we find out which franchise lands the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft. And trust me, this ain't just a lottery. This is Cooper Flagg's personal deal or no deal, and whichever team wins the pick, they don't automatically get Cooper. Oh no, now that Flagg has the power, they have to convince him to show up. Here's how it breaks down. Under the new NBA lottery odds, it's a total crapshoot. The Wizards, Jazz, and Hornets each have a 14% shot. Then you've got teams like the Sixers, Pelicans, Spurs, Rockets, and Blazers right behind. Normally, any of these teams landing the top pick would be a dream scenario, but this year, it might be a nightmare, because Flagg might look at one of these teams and just go, nah, I'm not wasting my talent there. Take the Washington Wizards, for example. This is a franchise where players' careers go to die. No clear direction, no leadership, no success. If they win the lottery, I'd put money on Flagg pulling out of the draft faster than you can say organizational failure. You think he wants to spend his rookie season getting coached by someone who might not even survive until the All-Star break? Nah. Cooper wants structure, stability, culture, and if you're not offering that, don't bother calling his agent. The drama here is unprecedented. We've never seen a top prospect with this much leverage. Most rookies cross their fingers and pray they don't end up on a dumpster fire of a team. Flagg? He gets to wait and see who the winner is, then decide if they're even worth his time. Imagine being the Hornets and winning the lottery, only to have Cooper tell the world, I'll take another year at Duke, thanks. That kind of rejection would be brutal and totally legal. So now the stakes are higher than ever. For these struggling franchises, it's not just about winning the lottery, it's about earning Cooper's trust. And for us fans, May 12th might be even more fun than the actual draft night, because it'll give us the first real hint. Is Cooper entering the league or pulling a historic no-show? Let's get this straight. Cooper Flagg is not like the other #1 picks we've seen over the last decade. You can't just throw him in the elite scorer box and call it a day. Because while most top picks come in known for one dominant skill, whether it's scoring like Anthony Edwards, athleticism like Zion, or size like Ayton, Cooper's game is all about balance. He's not the flashiest, he's not the loudest, but he might just be the most complete. You look at the stats and at first glance, you're like, wait, he doesn't lead in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and you're right, but that's exactly the point. Cooper is the type of player who does everything well without needing to dominate one category. It's that all-around game that has scouts drooling. His basketball IQ? Off the charts. His feel for the game? Freakish. And the dude just turned 18. He's already playing like a seasoned vet. And that's before he hits an NBA training camp. But the most underrated part of his game? Defense. Cooper might be the best two-way prospect we've seen since Victor Wembanyama. No exaggeration, he reads passing lanes like a free safety, rotates like a shot-blocking big, and guards multiple positions like it's nothing. Most rookies come in as defensive liabilities. Cooper? He's the opposite. He could anchor a defense from day one. That's unheard of. Now, this all ties into why his draft destination is so critical. He needs to go somewhere that lets him be versatile, somewhere that already has an offensive engine, so he's not being forced to drop 25 a night and carry the load immediately. You give him freedom to roam, defend, pass, and score in flow, and he's going to look like a superstar Swiss Army knife. In short, Cooper is the kind of player who makes your entire roster better just by being there. He fits into any system. He elevates everyone around him. But if you misuse him, if you throw him on a team with no identity and ask him to be a savior, you're wasting generational talent. And he knows that, which is why, more than ever, he's being picky. Let's talk about a sneaky good scenario that could turn into a league-altering big three. Cooper Flagg joining LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller in Charlotte. Yeah, the Hornets haven't exactly been setting the league on fire the past few years, but don't sleep on them. If Cooper ends up in Buzz City, we might be looking at the birth of something dangerous. First off, LaMelo Ball is a walking highlight reel. Dude's one of the most creative passers in the NBA, and he thrives in up-tempo, open-court chaos. But here's the thing. He's never had a pick-and-pop partner like Cooper. Most of his screeners roll to the rim or clog up space. But Flagg can set a screen, pop out behind the arc, and bury threes. That completely changes the geometry of Charlotte's offense. Defenses can't sag off anymore. They can't sit back in drop coverage. Suddenly, every LaMelo pick and roll becomes a three-level threat, and that's terrifying. Then you throw Brandon Miller into the mix. He's long, athletic, and showing flashes of real star potential. Between him and Cooper, you've got two switchable wings who can score, defend, and stretch the floor. That's modern NBA basketball right there. And while Charlotte's reputation has been shaky in the past, their new front office deserves credit. They flipped veterans for future assets, cleared cap space, and avoided panic trades. They're quietly putting the pieces together for a real rebuild. Now let's sprinkle in some drama. Imagine Cooper says yes to Charlotte, and they finally have a real direction. The Hornets become a league pass darling. They make a playoff push. LaMelo starts throwing half-court lobs to Flagg on fast breaks. Suddenly, they're not a joke anymore. They're a problem. And Flagg? He gets to be part of a resurrection arc where he's the missing piece that brings it all together. It's risky, sure. Charlotte isn't the most stable team, but the upside? Insane. This could be the most exciting thing to happen to the Hornets since they brought back the teal jerseys. And for Cooper, it could be the perfect blend of opportunity and impact without the pressure of carrying the whole franchise from day one. So here's where things get really complicated. On paper, the Philadelphia 76ers might be the most stacked team in the entire Cooper Flagg sweepstakes. Like, if we're talking pure talent, top to bottom, they should be a dream destination. We're talking Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and a bunch of young studs like Jared McCain and Quentin Grimes. This is a legit win-now squad, and Cooper could walk right into the starting lineup and compete for a title in year one. Sounds amazing, right? Except it's Philly, and Philly is never that simple. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The vibes in Philly are a mess. Every year, it's a different headline. Drama in the locker room, injuries at the worst possible time, leadership issues, coaching changes. And look, you can have all the talent in the world, but if the foundation is shaky, things crumble fast. We've seen it with the Sixers year after year. They're always one piece away, and somehow never quite get there. And that's where it gets tricky for Cooper. This kid is walking into the NBA with the highest expectations in years. The last thing he needs is to be thrown into a pressure cooker where every mistake gets magnified and every loss turns into a citywide crisis. Philly fans are passionate, but they're also ruthless. If Flagg has a 3-game slump in January, they'll have the trade machine fired up on Twitter before he gets back to the locker room. But let's not ignore the upside here, because it's massive. With Embiid drawing double teams, Maxey flying around the perimeter, and George spacing the floor, Cooper would have room to operate. He could focus on defense, passing, cutting, doing all the things he does best without being expected to drop 30 every night. In that kind of environment, his impact could be immediate and devastating. Still, it all comes down to risk versus reward. Philly's talent might be a golden opportunity or a ticking time bomb. If Flagg believes in the Sixers' long-term vision, if he sees a stable future there, then yeah, it's a no-brainer. But if he smells another round of dysfunction, don't be surprised if he nopes out and heads back to Duke instead. Now let's pivot to the quiet storm in all this. The Utah Jazz. No, they're not the flashiest team. No, they don't have a superstar roster right now. But if you ask around the league, players, coaches, agents, Utah is getting a lot of respect. Why? Because they've got the two things that Cooper Flagg values more than anything: culture and stability. Let's start at the top. Danny Ainge, the same guy who built the 2008 Celtics and helped create the modern Boston powerhouse, is now pulling the strings in Utah. The Jazz are sitting on a mountain of draft picks. They've got a strong front office, a young, respected coach in Will Hardy, and most importantly, they have a vision. They're not out here chasing headlines or throwing money at washed-up vets. They're building something real, slowly, methodically, and with purpose. For a guy like Cooper, that kind of environment could be perfect. He wouldn't have to save the franchise on day one. He could grow alongside a core of young talent, develop within a system that prioritizes defense and ball movement, and play for a franchise that's all in on his development. That's rare and powerful. let's talk roster fit. Utah already has solid pieces: Walker Kessler, Deontay George, Lauri Markkanen, and they've shown they can develop talent. Add Cooper to that mix, and suddenly you've got a squad that could sneak into the playoffs within a year or two. And let's be honest, there's zero media circus in Utah. He could fly under the radar, dominate quietly, and avoid the non-stop drama that comes with big markets like Philly or New York. But here's the spicy take. Some insiders are whispering that Ainge wants to make a move, like a real splash. If Utah lands the #1 pick, don't be shocked if they try to pair Flagg with a big-name veteran via trade. They've got the assets, they've got the vision, and they might just be crazy enough to go all in if they land the golden ticket. In short, Utah's not sexy, but it might be perfect. It's the kind of spot where a legend can quietly begin.